Hey, what's up? It's me, Bruno here. And after a couple of years, I decided to continue the project. 2 years ago, I made a video talking about movies I like. Actually, that video was for a project in the school, the English school. I was a student, and I finished the course, and then that was it. If you remember, of course you would not remember, but in the end of the video I said that I was only studying English for fun, for my own amusement. But it turns out that things changed a little bit since then. Yeah, I became an English teacher. The fate couldn't be different, and now I am teacher Bruno. I cannot introduce myself as Bruno only. For as much as I try, it sounds weird if I do that. But anyways, today the topic is music. For those of you who don't know, I am a big fan of music as well. Even though I don't listen to music anymore, but we will get there eventually. I'm sorry. So, the style of songs I like, if you follow my channel here, you will notice that there's pretty much metal or anything related to it. But there's a lot of story, to be told behind the curtains. And we're going to start with one of my favorite bands ever. One of my favorite bands ever, which is called H.I.M. Him. His Infernal Majesty. I don't know. Damn it, I said I was an English teacher. But still. The singer of this band is Willy Wallon, and he is probably one of my favorite artists ever. I am his fan. He's just amazing in everything he does. And this band might not be well known. Actually, I think a lot of people don't know it, especially here in Brazil, and especially because the band was disbanded a few years ago. I think in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. The first time I listened to a song of this band, I can't recall exactly how old was I, but something between 14 to 15 years old, or maybe even younger. I was playing a game called WYD, With Your Destiny, and there was a video of this game of a guy, and the video of this, he was a Brazilian actually, and the song he used was the song Death is in Love with Us by this band, H.I.M. And when I listened to this song, when I listened to the first riff, I instantly fell in love with it. I felt like there was something like magical, something deep inside, I can't explain it in words, but imagine like if you could feel something through those riffs. And then the singer started singing, and I felt at the same time this sort of a joy mixed with this sort of feeling of sadness. And then it all makes sense because the band is about this. The symbol of this band is a heartagram, which is like hard, like a pentagram, but it's like a heartagram. And the meaning of this symbol is like the opposition between love and death. So they mix two different things into one, and they've created their own style, which is love metal. Wishing you were dead. And I became a fan since then. And this song in particular is definitely one of my favorite songs ever. And yeah, I just listened to all his albums, all their albums actually, and videos and live performances. Actually, I used to prefer the live performances because you could see Willy Wallon in action, and it was also incredible to me. I'm gonna talk a little bit about one of the albums I liked, which was The Greatest Love Songs. It's actually their first album. It's just amazing. In this album, you can see they are a little bit heavier, and there is more metal on this one, with songs like When Love and Death Embrace, or The Heartless. You can feel this deep emotion as well, and the sadness at the same time. So actually, when Love and Death Embrace became one of their favorite songs to play live when were about to finish. Actually, there was it literally was the last song they sung live, which is kind of it's amazing, because they were singing songs from back then. And if I'm not mistaken, this album was released in 1999. The next one is Razor Blade Romance, which is my favorite one, if you look this way. Actually, those two albums are my favorite, but in Razor Blade Romance, you have more like, as you can tell by the name, it's a little bit more romantic.
We are so young, our lives have just begun, but already we are considering.
It's more like gothic, so to speak, but it's not gothic. It looks like it, but it's not like it. You have to listen to understand what I'm saying. In songs like Join Me Death, which is one of the main songs, I have to look here because my memory is terrible. As I said before, I am an English teacher. Bury Me Deep Inside, which is one of the most emotional songs they have.
He said it's not alright. Let me be so dead and young, so far away from life. Close my eyes.
It's very emotional, this one. If you look at the performances live, it's just makes your heart fall out. Death is in Love with Us, which was the first song I've heard of them. One Last Time. This is an incredible track, so slow paced and just amazing. The live version of this song has a solo in the end, which is called the outro, and it's just fantastic. I've actually learned to play it on guitar.
For this one last time.
Resurrection, and The Ninth Circle. The Ninth Circle is a very special song to me, and I believe it does not come with the original album. I think that it's like a special edition or something. And this song is like a version of One Last Time, but with a different rhythm. It's the same lyrics, but with different rhythm. And the band goes with other amazing tracks. Probably the most famous song I've listened back then was The Funeral of Hearts, which is probably the song I highly recommend you listening to, because if you like this song, you're most likely going to like the others.
Love's the funeral of hearts, and a note for cruelty when angels cry blood on flags of evil.
It's a beautiful song. It makes us on this album, actually, Love Metal, they finally reached what they were trying to create throughout these years. And on this song, The Funeral of Hearts, you can feel it, because it's a sad song, but at the same time it gives you that little joy, and mixing death with death and life and love at the same time, which is So that's it. Then throughout the years, they released another other albums, but eventually, I think in 2011 they kind of changed a little bit, probably because they were getting old. Villa's voice wasn't the same in the early areas, in the golden eras. He would sound more like punk, more aggressive, like more rebel. So this.
666 times for you. I sell myself for you, baby. For money to buy, just for who I am. And I give you all.
Speak. And then he will in 2011 and so on. He looked like he was more like formal. But it's still great. There are great tracks on this. There are really great tracks on those next albums in 2011. And then they released the last album, unfortunately, which is called Tears on Tape, which is it's very different. But not very different from the previous, but the band changed a little bit, but probably because of this, because they are not the same as they were when they were like 20 years old. They're now 40, they were 40 years or so things obviously are really going to change. But it didn't change to something bad, it changed to something good, which is one of the nicest thing about this band, because I every once in a while listen to the songs. So just so you know, I don't listen to music anymore. It's hardly unlikely to see me listen to anything. Probably because I can only focus at one thing at the same time, and I cannot listen to songs, listen to music, and do other things. So I have to stop, sit, and listen to music. And simple like this. I will not use music to like a background for something else. I don't do this. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I want to listen to something very specific from him. From HIM, and then I'm going to look into Hot Razor Blade Romance, and sometimes I want to listen to something more specific from the latest albums, like Tears on Tape. Tears on Tape is a great album, and it's not the same. It's not worse. It's not better. It's this from the same band, which is amazing. Unfortunately, after this, they broke up. They disbanded, and then that was it. On the note, I think they said something like they explained it in a very poetic way, but basically they were telling that there were anything else they could have. They just couldn't feel like the band should continue producing things because they wouldn't feel like they had an objective, So they kind of explained that in a very poetic way, in a philosophical level, which was really hard for me to comprehend, but still. And then that was it. The main singer, Ville Valo, he's still singing, and he joined a couple of guys from his country, and they started to do like live shows and stuff, but I wasn't actually paying too much attention to it. And lately he made his own band and released an album, which is amazing. But if you pay close attention, it's technically the same thing as Tears on Tape, which means that there was no reason whatsoever for them to disband, And especially because when he goes live, he mostly sing the songs from the previous albums from him, which is weird. So why the hell would they finish the goddamn band? The band was amazing. God damn it. Anyways.